African Organization for Standardization. I would like, first of all, to wish you a Happy New Year. I hope that you are all well. Yeah, I have seen you last year, and we are now starting our series of webinars for 2026. Thank you for joining us today. The theme of today will be tourism and standardization, imperative for tourism standard development and implementation in developing countries, and the need for maximizing the stakeholders' voice and involvement in tourism standardization. I would like to give very few remarks. Yeah, one is that at the end of last year, in October in Kigali, ARSO has signed an agreement with ARSO, what we call Kigali Agreement, to be able to have Africa influencing the standard at international level. As you know, when you are not on the table, you are on the menu. Yeah, we need to be participating actively in international standardization. Today, we are lucky to have the chair of the the secretary of the TC 228, Natalia Ortiz Dozarate. Yeah, she will be with us and she will be presenting. Thank you, Natalia, for accepting our invitation. And when we talk also about the stakeholders' involvement, we are more looking how our local stakeholders can be involved in the standardization work. That it's very important to also think about the standard body linking to regulatory bodies, or looking also to the private sector. That's why we'll also be having Karin Turkanon, who is from Mauritius Tourism Authority, who will also give us a presentation. And we will be also having Sali Ahmad Shaikh Badawi El Nagar, who is from Tourism Development Authority from Egypt. Yeah, now when I talk about Egypt and Mauritius, probably all of you want to take the flight to go there. Yeah, then we will also have experience from their presentation. Two last key points. When we talk about standardization, we also talk about implementation of those standards. In this area of tourism, it's very important to understand that the private sector certification bodies have really led this sector for certification purpose. We need to work closely on that issues of conformity assessment, but I would also like to mention that the voluntary standards are now very key. In this area. When a tourist is traveling, they need to see all of you were probably you have been in a hotel where they ask you, oh, please, let's save water by not changing the sheets every day or changing the towels every day. When we look at that, the climate change is here, and we also need to look at how we can implement the voluntary sustainability standard. Lastly, in my remarks, we need as Africa a tailor-made solution, tailor-made products. What we offer in tourism, it's not what other continents are offering. We need to look into that, combine with what I had said previously, like on sustainability standard. But look at, we have now started seeing countries focusing on high-end product in tourism. But how can we also have the local participation, the local involvement in these products that we are offering. That I feel it's also very important for us to look into this, and I look forward to sharing the experience from this great panelists that we have. We will have the opening panel by our staff, key staff who is in charge of conformity assessment, Peter Wayaki. Then I would like to recognize my co-hosts. My co-host for this panel, Dr. Abiyoye Adedibe, who will be giving you short remarks immediately, and our moderator, able moderator, Chidimwa Euzi, who will moderate this session. Let me pass the mic to Dr. Adedibe to give short remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Philip. The Secretary General, African Organization for Standardization, ARSO, distinguished panelists, members of ARSO TC76 on tourism and related services, tourism industry experts, distinguished participants. It is with a great pleasure that I welcome you to this all-important 62nd ARSO webinar section, jointly co-organized by ARSO headquarters and ARSO TC76. African Organization for Standardization, ARSO, established the ARSO TC76 on tourism and related services, and Nigeria currently serving as the host secretariat of the technical committee. ARSO TC on tourism and related services is saddled with the responsibility of harmonizing standards and technical regulations for tourism and related services in Africa. The scope of ARSO TC76 covers standardization of the terminology and specification of the services offered by tourism service providers, including related activities, touristic destination, and the requirement of facilities and equipment used by them to provide tourism buyers, providers, and consumers with criteria for making informed decisions. ARSO TC activities cover services including health tourism, adventure tourism, yacht harbor, barboat charter services, sustainable tourism, accessible tourism, accommodation, and fast food restaurants. ARSO TC76 currently has 18 participating member countries, including Botswana, Burundi, Democratic Republic of Congo, Egypt, Eswatini, Kenya, Mauritius, Morocco, South Sudan, South Africa, Namibia, Seychelles, Tanzania, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. About today's webinar, the 62nd ARSO webinar section is jointly co-organized by ARSO headquarters and ARSO TC76 with the theme Tourism and Standardization. It's a timely and apt theme to establish the resilience of African developing economies. The world is redefining tourism for a changing landscape, and Africa must be at the forefront of this shift, ensuring quality, diversity, sustainability, and resilience. Harmonizing and implementing tourism standards in the continent will ensure the sectors to boost competitiveness, attract discerning tourists, and ensure tangible delivery of tourism benefits to local communities. The main objective of this webinar is to strategically engage the policymakers, the standardization community and regulators, and all tourism stakeholders, and provide a platform for discussions on the need and benefit of tourism, and therefore the need for the related standards and certification activities for the sector to promote tourism and strategic sector for African sustainable development, while leveraging on the diverse tourism opportunities in Africa. The webinar therefore offers the tourism stakeholders in Africa and globally an overview of African opportunities and risk in the tourism sector, discussing trends, the perspectives, and strategies for effective investment, including the Sustainable Development Goals 2030 and African Union's Agenda 2063, while understanding the standardization initiatives at the national, continental, and international levels, including the activities of ARSO TC 76. The webinar thus gives a platform to share experiences on the challenges and benefits of implementing tourism standards and to brainstorm on the best conformity assessment procedures employed by countries that have successfully implemented tourism standard. The objectives of this webinar will be to facilitate better understanding of the tourism sector in Africa and the related opportunities, to facilitate better understanding of the tourism benefit of tourism in sustainable development, to facilitate better understanding of the need and benefit of standardization for the tourism sector and for the facilitation of trade in tourism by removing technical barriers. It will also help to better understand standardization initiative both at the international, continental, and national levels, and the need to involve all the stakeholders to facilitate better understanding on best conformity assessment procedure employed by countries that have successfully implemented tourist standard. Also to motivate governments, stakeholders, and policymakers, national standard boards, and the private sector to work together and consult to ensure transition and adoption of sustainable tourism policies and regulations. For ARSO TC, the webinar will specifically facilitate the task of ARSO TC 76 in the harmonization of standards, aligning conformity assessment activities and procedure in tourism in Africa. It will also expand the ARSO TC 76 reach and visibility by creating awareness on the existence and activities of the technical committee. And also the webinar will as well help in building authority and credibility for ARSO TC 76. It is expected in this webinar that 3 experts will be making presentation in line with the theme of the webinar. There will be discussions and comment section on the tourism sector's opportunities and challenges and the standardization needs. Also, there will be discussions and comments on the role of tourism in sustainable development. And appropriate recommendation and report of the webinar will be taken. Today's deliberation will outline the roadmap for standard harmonization and accelerate the adoption of tourism standard. Together, we can harness the power of standardization to make African tourism sector more sustainable, resilient, and ultimately more beneficial for all. Let me say that we need to work together to strengthen the competitiveness of African tourism. At this point, I now call this webinar section to order. Thank you, and I look forward to a productive deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dedibe. Yeah, and I would like now to call the moderator, Chidima Euze. The panel is yours. Thank you very much. Chidima, you are muted. Chidima, you are muted.
Okay, I am now. Thank you, Sekjen, and thank you everyone for finding out time to join us at this webinar. We are here to share ideas and to understand how far ARSO TC 76 standards harmonization projects have gone. The first presenter today, because I won't want us to waste time, our first presenter for the day is Mr. Peter Wayaki. Mr. Peter Wayaki is going to enlighten us on leveraging the potential of the tourism sector as a key pillar for African sustainable development and the standardization opportunities and policy perception. Mr. Peter Wayaki is an assistant monitoring and evaluation officer and also a coordinator of ARSO TC 76, a quality infrastructure expert with practical experience in international standardization, conformity assessment, and regulatory strategy. Mr. Peter is driven by his passion for program management, productive use of renewable energy, and energy efficient technologies. He thrives on driving successful project outcomes and driving exceptional stakeholder satisfaction. He has a proven track record of managing projects throughout their life cycle from inception to decommissioning. Mr. Peter, working closely with diverse stakeholders, he assures that the project goals are met seamlessly. Theories of change are proven, and crucial project risks are identified and mitigated. In summary, Mr. Peter is a future-oriented professional who aims at ensuring organizational success through venturing into new opportunities. He is committed to providing optimum stakeholder satisfaction for sustainability in business with his 360 view of quality infrastructure, project management, and execution. Please join me to welcome Mr. Peter Wayaki to make this beautiful presentation. Mr. Peter, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chidi.
Yeah.
And allow me to share my screen as
Please
I move into I move in my presentation.
Please, you have all the floor. Mr. Peter, you have just 10 minutes. Please try, because we are trying to manage our time effectively. Thank you.
For sure, for sure. Thank you very much. Please confirm that my screen is visible.
Yes, we can see your screen. I hope everyone can see. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So I'll be taking you through the issues on harnessing tourism for economic development and growth in Africa. And just as a brief introduction to what ARSO is, to those of us who are not aware, we are an organization that is an intergovernmental body which deals with standards harmonization and development of standards, as well as conformity assessment procedures. And we envision to be an excellent standardization institution that promotes quality culture across the continent. And to facilitate this, we have a mandate on standardization, where we look to ensure that national and sub-regional standards are harmonized to reduce the technical barriers to trade, as well as developing unique standards that are in areas that are peculiar to Africa. We also work to develop conformity assessment procedures, and we encourage and facilitate the adoption of international and African standards, and while encouraging at the same time the facilitation and of various technical regulations in terms of the development based on African harmonized standards. We also have issues on capacity building, where we have research and information sharing as part of the activities that we conduct as an organization. Just as an overview of the various statistics around tourism in Africa, we know that tourism is significantly contributing to various GDP, which is the gross domestic product, and employment across the continent. The sector indeed facilitates infrastructural development and international exposure, leading to trade opportunities and various cultural exchanges. But just to give you an idea of the numbers, we have a graph here that shows the trend in sub-Saharan Africa in terms of the revenue that is collected in countries based on international tourism. As you can note that there has been a steady increase of international tourism receipts within the continent, and this implies the economic growth potential of tourism across the continent. And we also know that there has been a lot of improvements or advancements in sustainable development goals, where we have to align tourism growth with sustainable development goals to ensure that we are playing in the level play field. And this ensures that we foster not only environmental sustainability, but also having resilient communities, as well as preserving the various cultural heritages that we have as a continent. We have various opportunities in terms of tourism across the sector. As a growing sector, we notice that there are various forms of tourism that are coming up, and this includes the business tourism. We have beach tourism, we have safaris, we have the various cultural heritage tourism, and this gives the diverse attractions that we have an opportunity to compete. And this in turn also gives an opportunity to showcase the various cultural heritages that we have and the natural resources we have as a continent. And this, of course, will lead to exploitation of the various niche markets that we have as a continent in terms of ecotourism, cultural tourism, among others. But of course, we are having various challenges that are facing the sector in general. And in summary, they could be in these three major aspects. We have the infrastructure deficits. This is, of course, in terms of being a significant barrier to tourism growth. We are looking at issues on transportation, accommodation, quality. We also have the overall experience as a tourist. How is it being impacted by the infrastructure deficits? We also have the political instability that we all know, and we are aware that we have various issues that lead to detrimental tourist confidence, where we have various issues in terms of terrorism, among others. But altogether, we have environmental concerns, such as poaching, climate change, which are posing threats to the Africa's natural resources, and hence causing a challenge in the tourism sector. But as an organization, we are looking to ensure that we initiate tourism, we scale the tourism, as well as deepen and sustain the success that we already have. And to do this, we have, of course, the technical committee, the TC76, which we have been mentioned to by the able chair, where we have 18 members across the continent. And this is mainly to ensure that we are having harmonized standards development. And this will lead to cost issues on having creating a common language on tourism, as well as improving the quality, the safety, and the consumer trust within the continent. And then we also reduce the technical barriers to trade in tourism services while enabling comparability across the continent. Additionally, we have the Sustainable Tourism Certification through the EcoMark Africa, which ensures that Africa is adaptable to the global trends in terms of social, environmental, and economic empowerment. And this ensures that hotels and other tourist serving agencies can be awarded the ARSO Eco Mark as a testament to their sustainability. And in a nutshell, then standardization would transform tourism from an opportunity to ensuring impact. And as I conclude, there are a few key takeaways that probably we would take from this presentation. And this would be that in addition to being a very potential or potent area of exploitation in terms of GDP and service exports, then tourism is also the continent's unique area of strength in terms of the natural resources, the cultural heritage we have as a continent, as well as the regional frameworks that we may have existing towards ensuring that we have proper and well-sustainable tourism sector. We also have a vision to ensure that there is sustainable tourism in terms of the growth and in terms of the returns that we get as a continent. And therefore, environmental issues such as poaching and climate change, which pose threats to the sector, can be abated through the various interventions that will come through standardization. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Wow, thank you very much, Mr. Peter. You've really done justice to this topic on leveraging the potential of tourism sector as a key pillar in African sustainable development and the standardization opportunities and policy perception. The issues you have identified are actually key because you have talked on the status of tourism in Africa, the role of tourism in sustainable economic development globally and Africa. You also looked at African tourism opportunities and the role of government policies and regulations in prompting tourism. You looked at regulatory bottlenecks, and the need for common regulatory framework and standards in ARSO TC 76. You looked at African policy initiatives and the leadership, organization, and strategic partnership in promoting tourism. That is with AU, UNWTO, SDGs 2030. Thank you, Mr. Peter. I've been trying to look at the chat box. If you have questions for Mr. Peter, kindly send in your questions on the chat box. While we look at that, a few questions came in, and Mr. Peter, are you here? Can you hear me?
Hello, yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Questions that came in are like, they want to know, why does tourism remain one of the key strategic sectors for Africa? Why do you think so? I know you've talked about it, but it's good you highlight it more for us to take home. Thank you. And secondly, let me finish the question. Let me ask the second question that came in. They were also asking, what is the importance of standards in leveraging the potentials in the sector, and why the key initiatives of ARSO in this regard? Thank you. Did you get the questions?
I did. Thank you very much. Just as I mentioned earlier in my presentation, I think tourism is a major area of exploitation, mainly because of the cultural heritage that we have as a continent. When we look at issues to do with culinary art, issues to do with fashion and design, issues to do with the various attractive sites in terms of the wildlife, in terms of the visiting areas of natural heritage, And this ensures that we have already the potential to exploit and to grow in terms of economic and also in terms of economically and sustainably. And just to mention on what we have done as an organization is we are looking to ensure that we have increased our portfolio of harmonized standards, which will in turn feed into ensuring that we have certifiable aspects within the tourism sector. In having certification and sustainability, then we are able to ensure that we have capitalized on the quality without compromising on the sustainability of the sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Peter, for addressing the questions. And I hope our audience got the message, because standards in tourism will help us harness better our tourism destinations and establishments. Thank you, Mr. Peter. We are about to invite the next panelists. But before that, I want to quickly mention or announce the presence of the Director General, Nigerian Tourism Development Authority in Nigeria, Dr. Olayiwola Awakan. Doctor, we know you're here and we welcome you. Thank you, sir. So the second present panelist is Mrs. Karen Tolkano. Mrs. Karen is a senior tourism enforcement officer in Mauritius. She works with the Tourism Authority and a member in the Standards Subcommittee on Sustainable Tourism. Mrs. Karen is going to enlighten us more on developing a common language for tourism, the benefit of implementing uniform standards for tourism and related services, and the role of government policies, regulations, and the national tourism boards in promoting tourism, the Mauritius experience. Mrs. Karen, you're welcome, and we want to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chima, for the introduction. So, first of all, I would like to thank the ARSO for inviting me and the Tourism Authority to join our panelists in this webinar. And let me first of all introduce to you so this is the agenda for today, the introduction, a short introduction of the Mauritian tourism sector, the tourism regulating body and the standardization body in Mauritius, the tourism standards, regulations and guidelines that guides the tourism sector of Mauritius, the role of the government policies and National Tourism Board, which is a tourism authority for Mauritius, and the benefits of a uniform standards in the tourism sector. So let me first introduce to you the tourism sector in Mauritius. Mauritius is a small island nation, which is situated in the Indian Ocean, with tourism as a key pillar of the economy, and with a direct contribution of the tourism sector of about 9% in 2023. 63% of our tourism market comes from 5 main markets, that is France, the UK, the Réunion Islands, South Africa, and Germany. So in 2024, tourist arrivals in Mauritius grew by about 6.7% and reaching 1.3 million visitors. The Tourism Authority is a regulatory body of the tourism sector under the Tourism Authority Act. And The destination, marketing, and promotion are mostly led by another authority, which is the MTPA, the Mauritius Tourism Promotion Authority. Our tourism sector is a quite large and diverse sector with around 30 types of enterprises and activities, among which it includes hotels, tour operators, restaurants, ecotourism, scuba diving, kite surfing, but also other activities such as nightclubs, pubs, private clubs, and table d'hôte. So moving on to the next part, the regulating and standardization bodies in Mauritius. There are two bodies which regulates, and one for standardization and one for regulating the tourism sector. So the first is the Tourism Authority of Mauritius, which is which was created in 2003. It is a country regulatory and licensing body. It has for objectives to promote sustainable development of the tourism industry while ensuring that Mauritius remains a high quality and safe tourist destination. It also aims to develop regulations, guidelines, code of practice, and foster coordination between public and private sector when necessary. On the other hand, the Mauritius Standard Bureau has served as a national standards body since 1975 in Mauritius. It aims to develop and promote Mauritian standards for goods, services, and processes, and including for the tourism industry. Through the Mauritius Standard Bureau Technical Committee on tourism and related supported by focus subcommittees and working groups, the Bureau works closely with industry stakeholders to ensure that standards are practical and relevant. The Mauritius Standard Bureau is also an GSTC accredited body, which further reinforces Mauritius' commitment to internationally recognized sustainable tourism standards. So the tourism standards, regulations, and guidelines which exist in Mauritius. On the regulatory side, we have the Tourism Authority, which is responsible for implementing various guidelines, among which is the Hotel Classification Regulation 2015, which forms the National Hotel Star Rating System, to which I would highlight that 100% of the hotel operators in Mauritius are compliant. The Tourism Authority has also developed several guidelines, including guidelines which are gazetted for guest houses, pub, travel agents, table d'hôte, tour operators, among others. It is to be noted that all guidelines in Mauritius must be complied with before the issue of any license, and all the gazetted guidelines are legally binding. So, on the other side, the Mauritius Standard Bureau has developed the MS 165-219, the Sustainable Tourism Management System, also known as the Blue Oasis Standard, which is a national sustainable tourism standard. This standard is aimed for hotels, accommodation providers, and tour operators, and focuses on sustainability and responsible tourism practices. Importantly to note, the Blue Oasis standard is recognized by the GSTC, providing an international recognized and comprehensive framework for tourism operators to embed sustainability into their operations. Moving on to the roles of government, policies, and National Tourism Board, which in Mauritius is the Tourism Authority. So the first role first of the key responsibilities is to regulate and supervise the tourism activities, which is done through the licensing and monitoring of tourism operators to ensure that businesses comply with national laws, standards, and approved conditions of license. Secondly, policies are essential to protect safety of tourists and the integrity of the destination. Policy frameworks supported by clear guidelines and criteria ensures that the tourism services meet safety and security requirements. For example, In Mauritius, it is mandatory to comply with safety and security measures in all tourist accommodations, such as installation of CCTV cameras and burglar alarm systems. This helped to protect the visitors while preserving Mauritius' reputation as a safe and reliable destination. Beyond regulation, the Tourism Authority also acts as a facilitator. A good example is the implementation of the hotel classification system in Mauritius. When the system was first introduced, many operators faced challenges in understanding and meeting the requirements of the system. In response to this, the Tourism Authority worked closely with the hoteliers to provide guidance and to support the operators to ensure that the system was properly adopted rather than simply enforcing the system, which has contributed to having 100% of the hotels which are compliant with the hotel classification system. Finally, the role of the Tourism Authority is also to provide support to the tourism operators and to promote the shift towards a sustainable and inclusive tourism industry. This is done through various policies, schemes, but also with sensitization campaigns with the tourism operators. And also, one of the measures that the Tourism Authority has taken is to establish a sustainable tourism unit to help operators in this way. So let's finally see the benefits of uniform standards in tourism. So first, the uniform standards lead to higher tourist satisfaction. When visitors consistently receive good service, they are more likely to return. In Mauritius, this is reflected by a repeating visitors rate of 41% in 2024, showing strong visitors' confidence. Secondly, uniform standards ensure consistent service quality across the sector. Tourists know what to expect, regardless of the type of accommodation or service, which strengthens the destination image once again. Thirdly, standards improve tourist safety, as already mentioned before, through mandatory security, service, and safety measures, reducing risk and increasing trust. And finally, uniform standards allows for easier monitoring and enforcement, as authorities can easily assess compliance using clear criteria and existing guidelines to help maintain quality. Taking, for example, again, the hotel classification system in Mauritius, it fosters trust by the hotel operators, international to operators, by elimination of sometimes biased self-rating, which was done before. So prior to the implementation of the system, the hotels used to self-rate themselves, which was not necessarily what was referred to in the establishment and the services that was offered. So all hotels are now rated from 2-star to 5-star, and those which did not meet the criteria was downgraded to guest houses. This facilitates benchmarking for the tourists as well as the tour operators for the expected service, and they are given value for money based on the hotel star rating. So final takeaway is adopting standardization comes with challenges for sure at the start, but in the end, it is more beneficial being for the tourist, for the operator, or for the destination image. It is, however, very important to properly accompany the operators in the standardization path. So, and this is the end of my presentation. I thank you very much for your kind attention.
Wow, thank you, Karen, for actually adhering to the time. Thank you. And yeah, I want to believe that your presentation is going to speak to a lot of member countries that are part of this webinar, because the issues that we have observed in Africa is implementation of the standards. And we thank you for that detailed presentation. And just like you gave us a takeaway that it's expensive to implement standards, but it's more beneficial, okay? It brings loyalty to your business. I mean, loyal customers to your business. So thank you very much, Karen. And you clearly outlined the status of tourism in Africa, I mean, focusing more on Mauritius, and the role of government policies and regulations in promoting tourism. Thank you again, Karen. Karen, but there are questions that are streaming in. I told you that the area you discussed is what most of the participants are interested in. I can see questions are still coming into the question chat box. Okay, so please, can you quickly answer these questions for us? One is asking, what is the current status of tourism in Mauritius, including the opportunities, benefits, and challenges? That's one question. Did you get that? They are asking opportunities, benefits, and challenges. I think you have discussed that, I think. Then the second one is asking of standards and government policies and regulations promoting tourism in Mauritius, highlighting the strategic role of Mauritius National Tourism Bureau Authority and Mauritius Bureau of Standards. I think you dealt with this extensively. Maybe you just speak a little bit on them. I think that was actually your presentation. Yes.
So thank you for that question, Chibima. Okay, I would say that the status of the tourism sector in Mauritius is quite steady. So the tourist arrivals is increasing, I would say, reaching about 1.4 million in 2025. The tourism sector is also evolving. We can see that it was previously more focused on beaches, and now the tourist wants to explore more. They want to know our culture, and they are moving from the hotels and the beaches. They explore the local food truck, the street foods, and they want to get to know the people. The benefits from this tourism demand, I would say, it's first of all economic gains. We have seen an increase in the GDP contribution and the foreign exchange earnings for the tourism sector. And the sector is also contributing to bringing revenue for other sectors, I would say, like retail sector, the transport, even the agricultural sector, which benefits from the tourism. It also creates jobs like anywhere else. In 2024, I would say the tourism employment was about 48,000 people in Mauritius. With regards to the business opportunities, I would say there's a growth in the niche segments of tourism, such as ecotourism, wellness tourism, but also an increase in sustainable experience, which are requested by the tourist. For example, there are development of low carbon and eco-friendly tours, food tours, and cultural tours as well. But with regards to the challenges, I would say that meeting in standards is not easy, and it is a costly process, mostly for small islands. And most tourism businesses in Mauritius are SMEs and family businesses, which focus on short-term revenue and profit making because they need to survive. And they do not have the resources or the financial resources to keep data or to comply with standards, to hire consultants, or to pay for audits. Sometimes the businesses, they even struggle to comply with the basic minimum requirements and standards that is being imposed here in Mauritius to comply with the guidelines to obtain the license itself. So I would say the challenges would be the financial cost, and you need also to raise the awareness of operators and to change their mindset from focusing on short-term profits to more long-term, I would say long-term sustainability of their business.
Okay.
And this was for the first question.
Yes.
And for the second question,
yes.
About the role, it was about the role of Mauritius Standard Bureau and the Tourism Authority.
The tourism, policy, regulation and standards.
Okay, so the Tourism Authority basic role is a regulating body. It ensures that the tourism operators, they meet the legal and quality requirements for them to be able to operate. So this is done through a well-defined licensing process, including the submission of basic documents, a verification of the establishment through site visits, before submitting their application for approval. So by doing this, the Tourism Authority ensures that all licensed tourism operators align with the basic national standards and maintain the quality that the destination is promoting, I would say.
Yeah.
And with regards for the Mauritius Standard Bureau, it is their role is more for the development of standards covering key emerging areas of tourism. They are actually working on various tourism standards, including on online travel agencies, camping tourism, smart tourism, or even adventure tourism, actually. So their role is more to develop basic standards, and the Tourism Authority's role is to implement those standards and make sure that the operators, they are abiding legally to the standards. I would say to the guidelines, yes.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Then what of the GST standards? You mentioned the global standards that...
the GSTC is a Global Tourism Council, which develops several standards for the tourism sector. The criteria changes all the time, so it's and the Mauritius Standard Bureau is an accredited body of a tourism standard, which means that they can carry out, deliver certification to tourism operators in Mauritius based on the global GSTC criteria. So the MS 165 that I mentioned is an accredited standard by the Tourism Council.
Okay, so they provide certifications for...
They do not provide certification. They develop criteria and standards. And based on those standards, other bodies such as the Mauritius Standard Bureau can certify tourism operators.
The Standards Bureau certify based on the standards.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Karen. More questions are still coming in, but if we keep picking on all of them, I'm not sure we'll leave here today. So, but one thing I assure participants is that all the questions you're putting down are going to be addressed by the panelists, and the response are going to also be circulated after the webinar. Thank you. Thank you, Karen. The next presenters that we have today is Isali Ahmed Shakai Badawai El Magar. Sally.
It's a
Sally,
very
I
long
hope I'm
name.
safe.
A very long name.
Sally, I know. But I got Sally. I got Ahmed, okay?
That's very good.
Okay. So Sally is from the Tourism Development Authority of Egypt. Sally is going to take us on tourism as an economic development tool, maximizing the stakeholders' voice and involvement in tourism standardization under a national tourism organization, the Egyptian National Perspective and Experience. Sally is is a seasoned MICE industry professional with over 15 years of experience. Sally has a Bachelor of Faculty of Languages, ARSO, Aisham University, Department of English and French. She is currently pursuing a professional doctorate degree in crisis and risk management at the Faculty of Graduate Studies for Statistical Research, Cairo University. The dissertation is titled A Study of the Impact of the Global Tourism Competitiveness Index on Tourism Performance in Egypt. Sally, we are here to listen to you today. Please, I apologize for wrong pronunciations, and I know you understand. Thank you.
Of course, I'm understanding. Let's start, distinguished participants. It's a great pleasure for me to address you today in this 60-second ARSO webinar session. I'd like to sincerely thank Dr. Hermogene, Secretary General of ARSO, and Dr. Sufi, Chairman of EOS, for granting me this valuable opportunity. Allow me also to convey you warm greetings from El Dunya, as you expressed in your invitation. At the outset, I'd like to commend the African Organization for Standardization, ARSO, for its vital role in harmonizing standards across African continent and in supporting sustainable development. Through its efforts, ARSO enhances intra-Africa trade, strengthens competitiveness, and ensures that African products and services meet international quality and safety requirements. In the tourism sector, ARSO also provides an essential platform for developing safety requirements, unified standards that promote services excellence, sustainability, and consumer confidence, which is reinforcing Africa's position as a reliable and attractive global tourism destination. In fact, today's topic, the imperative for tourism standards development and implementation in developing countries, is of paramount importance, particularly for Egypt, where tourism plays a prominent role in our national economy. As you know, that tourism industry for Egypt is one of the strategic sectors driving both economic and social development. We have continuous effort to expand hotel capacity, to improve infrastructure, to enhance tourism services. And in fact, we are proud to receive about 19 million tourists by the end of 2025. And achieving 16% increase in tourism revenues. And we are looking forward to reach 30 million tourists by 2030, according to our national agenda 2030, especially after the opening of the Great Egyptian Museum. Let's talk about our status, about the economic importance of tourism to Egypt. Are you following? I don't know.
Yes, Can
There is a
people,
problem in camera.
please, we're seeing your slide. So type yes if you're following Sally. But I'm seeing your slide and I'm following. Thank you.
Okay, okay. We have, economically speaking, we have a target which is economic security in the field of tourism, more contribution of our sector revenues and the GDP. We need to go further step to expand our activities and to grow more and more. We have great efforts done by more than one entity regulating tourism. Let me shed light on the efforts of the TDA. As you see here, we have the Ministry of Tourism, we have the Tourism Development Authority, and the ETA, which is the Egyptian Tourism Authority. And I will show you later the difference between the role or the scope of work of each one of them. But let me tell you now about the TDA role in investment and encouraging foreign investors to work in the Egyptian market. We are giving them great incentives. We are scheduling loan installment for tourism development in certain areas. We are granting companies in certain sectors incentives that include extending payment exemption period. And we are granting a grace period free of charge. We can also say that we are offering new tourist products that are new to the Egyptian marketing. So as you know that when you are talking about the Egyptian tourism, everyone comes to his mind the Egyptian monuments, the pharaohs and the pyramids and so on. But we are trying to change a little bit this image. We wanted to introduce another kinds of tourism products. For example, we are promoting the Holy Family tourism or the religious tourism by the Holy Family to Egypt. As you know that the Holy Family, Jesus Christ and Virgin Mary, have visited Egypt and stayed for 3 years and more. They have 26 sites that are approved by the Egyptian Church that they are now turned into monasteries and important and magnificent churches. They are celebrated. The Egyptian Church is celebrating this every year annually at the 1st of June. The visit started from Sinai in the northeast, and it extends to the Delta till the capital of Cairo, and it continues in Upper Egypt. So this is one of the products that we are introducing newly or recently to our products of tourism. We have also another social target to achieve to get larger number of Egyptians engaged in tourism, whether directly or indirectly. I am here working about those who are working. No, this is not this slide. Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities launched an online platform for tourism training, which is called EGTAP, that aims at providing accredited training programs to qualify and develop personnel and all staff engaged in tourism services. We have also the Tourism Excellence Centers that give continuous practical training for workers in hotels in Red Sea and Luxor. We are also keeping great importance for environment, which is one of our priorities, especially with all the efforts exerted recently and globally to reduce warmth and the emission of harmful gases. We are following strict system to protect our nature and to prevent tourism from abusing or harming. Of course, we have initiatives to focus on in the coming years, which is green tourism, building ecologists, wellness tourism, ecotourism. So you know that our nature is our assets, and we have to keep it safe. Let's move to the entities or the scope of work of these two, the ETA and the TDA, to show the difference between them. The Tourism Development Authority, or TDA, was established in 1992, and it's responsible for managing, allocating, capitalizing tourism lands, particularly along the Red Sea coast, outside governorate borders. It's working to attract private sector investment to develop integrated tourism projects. It focuses on land allocation, development planning, and sustainable standards in economic, social, and environmental dimension. While the ETA was established in the 80s, more accurately in 1981, responsible for promoting Egypt as a global tourism destination, emphasizing its rich history, culture, Nile cruise, Red Sea resorts, and archaeological heritage. They exerting great effort also to reach our strategic target of 30 million tourists in 2030. Then if we move to standardization, as I mentioned before, it ensures tourism satisfaction. The other slide.
I've notified. Okay, I've notified. Okay, yeah, it's coming up now. Sorry for that.
No, nothing. Don't mention it. Then we move to standardization. It ensures the satisfaction, of course, of tourists and sustainability growth. And it matters a lot as it gives us a benchmark for all tourism sectors and services that can be applied in hotels, food, diving, and so on. And it ensures consistent delivery of services, which build trust and reputation internationally. When we talk about our expectations from tourism standards and regulations, so it's necessary to emphasize digital transformation and its effect on tourism. We have to strengthen digital marketing of African destinations through global platforms such as Booking.com and Airbnb, and expand the use of augmented and virtual reality technologies in tourism promotion, and to develop a clear standard for emerging accommodation patterns such as holiday homes and residential tourism, wellness tourism. Of course, Egyptian tourism is firmly committed to effective cooperation with Africa. The last one. Would you move to the next one? Yes. Egyptian tourism is firmly committed to effective cooperation with Africa to ensure best practices and resilient economies driven by tourism. Together, we can deepen our collaboration to achieve sustainable, inclusive, and future-oriented tourism development. And that's all. Thank you for your attention.
Wow, thank you very much, Sally. And again, we apologize for the slides that were not moving at a point.
No, don't mention it.
Yes, and honestly, when you were presenting, I was just taking, Egypt is a country that we know that have actually helped to boost the international travel records in Africa, because the reports from UNWTO says that African international tourists data moved up to 8%, and the push was from North Africa. Again, there was a question on the chat box on what tourism is adding to the GDP of Africa.
The GDP, I have certain statistics, but about the global GDP, I think that tourism is adding 10% to the international GDP, according to statistics of 2024. Yes. It offers employment, I think 10 chance, one employment per each 10 chance of employment. We have here in Egypt about 3.5% of the total workers in Egypt, they are engaged in tourism and tourism activities, whether directly or indirectly. They are. It's a great number.
Yes, it is. It is, and even in Africa, tourism have added 7% to the GDP. Okay,
yes.
So it's a huge economic area that cannot be overlooked, especially in our continent. Okay,
Yes.
so maybe you can also help us answer these two simple questions. I will call them simple because as you were presenting, I can see that you have even addressed most of them, but maybe because the slides were not moving, that's why the questions kept coming in. They're asking, what are the key strategic importance in the tourism sector? Then the second one is, why is it important to maximize the stakeholders' voice and involvement in the development of tourism policies and regulations, including standards, and how is Egypt doing this? Do you get the questions?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, today's webinar is one of the best examples of chance to do to collaborate in Africa. We are all discussing the same topic, and this is very good, and this is of great benefit to us all. We can raise the competitiveness of Africa in general. We are going to work together. We are going to push together. We have common challenges together. We can face them and we can overcome, of course. We can improve in order to improve our service to get better performance. No one, and of course, no one today is going to work separately. In the world, we are in the same continent. We have to cooperate. This is a necessity, and it's beneficial for everyone. We are having an agenda. We are for development, the tourism sector. We are having a goal which is very clear, that we have to have 30 million tourists by 2030, inshallah. We are respecting, of course, and following the GDPs. We are committed to collaboration with every entities in Africa. We apply governance in all aspects. We are progressing. I think we are progressing with executive steps towards achieving our strategic goal.
Yes, and Egypt is also active in TC 76, ARSO TC 76. They are members, and we hope to do more together. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sally. Thank you very much for your time and for managing your time. You actually tried, even with the slides. You managed your time well. Thank you.
Yes, I was accurate.
Okay, our next presenter is, we've been saving the big pot, the big wine for the last, the best for the last, and everyone is the best. The last is not the least. Here we have a presenter from the International Organization for Standardization, ARSO TC 228. We have Natalia Orize Desarete. She's a tourism standardization at UNE. She's the Secretary, Spanish Association for Standardization, UNEP, Spain. Natalia Orize has been working in tourism standardization at UNE since 2008, dealing first with national standards, over 50 UNE tourism quality standards, and since 2013 as a committee manager of the International Technical Committee ARSO TC 228 Tourism and Related Services, coordinating over 100 countries and more than 20 working groups. In 2017, the committee was awarded with the prestigious Lawrence the Archer Leadership Award, recognizing the significant contribution and superior performance of ISO TC 228 to the development of ISO international standards. As tourism continues to grow worldwide, Natalia believes that ensuring quality and sustainability is essential for its long-term success, with Standards 7 as a key tool to turn ideas into action. Since 2020, Natalia combines this standardization work with her role as the International Relations Department, where she monitors, participates in, and takes the lead in European and international activities of a horizontal strategic technical nature. Natalia, you're welcome. And I must tell you that one of the convoyers of the Working Group 20 in TC 228, Jack Young, has been present in this webinar. So Natalia, you're doing a great job, and you have the floor to enlighten us on the International Organization for Standardization and ISO TC 228, the procedure for tourism standards development, harmonization, and implementation. Natalia, you have the floor. You have 10 minutes. I know you have a lot to tell us, but just 10 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you see my screen?
Yes. I don't
Okay,
know.
perfect.
Type yes if you're seeing Natalia's screen. I can see it from my end. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So first of all, thank you, ARSO, for inviting me. I think tourism is a big business also in Africa, not just worldwide. And I think it's a perfect topic to start this new year. And also, thank you to ARSO TC 76 on tourism, which is doing a great job. And I'm sure we will collaborate more in the coming in this year and the coming years. So I just want to tell you a bit more about ISO TC 228. This is the Committee on Tourism and Related Services. Here we are. So ISO TC 228 was created in 2005. This committee was created between Spain and Tunisia. So again, an ARSO member who was in the inception of this committee. So we managed a twinning arrangement between a developing country and a developed country to strengthen the capacities and the competence of the leadership of this TC, and to enrich also each of these national standards bodies with the other experience. So last year we celebrate our 20th anniversary, and we have managed to involve 100 countries in this committee. So right now we are 108 countries. We have also managed to involve international organizations. I remember you mentioned the United Nations Tourism Organization, which is one of our liaison organizations. So they do participate, and they have even promote a standard on accessible tourism, for example. So we are working together with the United Nations tourism organizations. Another entity you have mentioned is the GSTC, the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, which is also a liaison organization of this TC, and they collaborate with us in developing standards, especially in the field of sustainable tourism. Right now, we have 10 active working groups. This figure depends on the topics we are addressing. Of course, we are in the working group 22. This is the latest. This means that we have had other working groups dealing with different topics that they have completed their task, and now they are being disbanded because, or non-active, because they do not have any project in their work program. But this does not mean that if there are new ideas, the working groups can return to the activity, or other working groups can be created. So far, we have published 62 ISO standards for tourism, and we have 18 projects in the pipeline. I've been doing a little bit of research, and I think that 45% of ARSO members are involved in ISO TC 228 somehow. Let me explain this figure. I've been checking, and around 22% of the ARSO members are participant members. We have, for example, Congo, Kenya, Morocco, Mauritius, that she was presenting before, Nigeria, thanks to Chidinma, doing a great job, because you are one of the most active in ISO TC 228, not just in the African region, but also in ISO TC 228 in the whole membership. South Africa, very active recently, Tanzania also, Tunisia, Uganda and Zambia. So these are members that are attending the meetings, that are providing observations, that are contributing to the projects with comments. And then we have observing members such as Algeria, Burundi, Cameroon, Egypt, again, she was presenting just before me, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Seychelles, Sudan, Togo, and Zimbabwe. And there are others, the countries you see in gray on the slide are the ones that are not participating, I would say, yet, because of course you are invited to participate to this ISO TC 228 committee, because the doors are always open, and I think it's very enriching to be there, not just to listen, but also to have your say during the meetings. I know that we have already, I'm the last one, so you have already maybe addressed some tourism data, but just to be, is just one slide to be on the same page. Last year, 2025, there were 1.5 billion international tourists. This is crazy. This is not a fashion. This is not something that is that is a phenomenon that is recent. This is a trend that is here to stay. I mean, tourism is going to continue to grow. From last year, 2024 to 2025, there has been an increase in the world of 4% international tourist arrivals. So, and in Africa, in the region of Africa, even more, it was an 8% increase. So this is just not one year phenomenon. This is something that tourism, I mean, we all want to go outside, know new people, new cultures, new places, get out of the routine, and this is going to stay. So tourism is a phenomenon that is going to keep on increasing. But the most important is not that billions of international tourists are traveling, but also they are spending money, because we, in some places, for example, in Spain, where I'm based, we are facing now over tourism. So residents complaining about the massification and the tourism phenomenon. So in Spain, for example, we are putting the accent not on the quantity, which all, of course, is good, but also on the quality. And for example, the billion total receipts in the world last year were 1.9, which is 5% more than last year. So it's more important that people spend the money and not just increasing the total number of visitors. So also, tourism represents $1 in every $10 worldwide. So for every $10 spent globally, $1 is generated by the travel and tourism industry, which is crazy as well. Is one of the most important industries in the world. And also in terms of employment, is 1 in every 10 jobs in the world. I mean, for example, in some countries, like in Spain, in my country, this is even bigger. In Spain, tourism represents 13% of the GDP and 12% of the employment. And that was one of the reasons that we promote the creation of ISO TC 228, the Tourism Standardization Committee. And what we do in this committee is voluntary standards. I know standards are voluntary by nature, but in some countries where they do not have any regulation, any legislation, or where they want to have some support from standards, standards that have become compulsory. I'm not sure whether, I think in Egypt, for example, the diving standards to ensure safety, which is something key in the diving tourism, have been mentioned in legislation and are now compulsory. So standards can play this double role of being voluntary when there is no regulation in place, but also can become compulsory as well. And it's important that in ISO TC 228, what we do is to align international best practices. I mean, it's important that we hear from all the continents, from all the type of stakeholder categories, not just from ministries, but also from the private sector, from university, from the consultants, from the big associations for the small and medium enterprises. So we need all the views and from all the countries. And we are here to standardize the terminology and specifications of the services offered by tourism service providers, including related activities, touristic destinations, and the requirements of facilities and equipment used by them to provide tourism buyers, providers, and consumers with criteria for making informed decisions so they can choose having the right information. And why we are developing these standards? Well, I think some of the other panelists have mentioned that standards have entail a lot of benefits. They ensure quality, safety, sustainability, and efficiency in tourism services because we have agreed on the best way of doing things. Also, it's a way of harmonizing processes worldwide, saving time and money. I mean, if there is already a way to do things, I mean, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel by defining new processes. I take the standards and I implement it. And it's going to be easier for me than thinking about how can I improve sustainability in my company. So, and I read on the chat also a question about is it standardizing a way of losing a little bit the particularity of each country or each company, and this is not true because, for example, the standard we have for management system of the sustainability in accommodation doesn't set a threshold of you have to do this or that, you have to have this figure or reach that level. No, this standard obliges you to set your own goals. So it's the same company, the accommodation establishment, who set their goals in the 3 different areas of sustainability: social, economic, and environmental. So each company sets their own goal and put their own measures in place. So it's kind of a scheme that allows the small companies, the big companies, the ones that are in the center of the country, the ones that are on the coast, the ones that work for the business tourism sector. So it depends. There are flexible tools. Also, it's a way of opening doors to international markets. If you are complying with an international standard, they will create for sure trust and confidence for your consumers and for the providers, and they will rely more easily on your competences because you are meeting international standards. And of course, they will enhance the tourist experience. And there are many benefits. Of course, they will encourage responsible practices, facilitate the sustainable management of destinations and also businesses. Sustainability, of course, is one of the big challenges in the tourism sector, because we have to take care of what is more precious to us, to preserve the treasure and what makes visitors come into our country. Of course, tourism standards also, they boost competitiveness in the tourism industry. They want to be better. They want to be, they make us to be better and improve the quality of the services we provide. And of course, they enhance the business destinations and reputation, and they improve risk management to get prepared to new challenges. Right now, we have the following working group active. We have working group 1 on diving services. This is the most prolific standard, I would say, group. They have developed more than 20 standards for the diving sector. As I mentioned, I think in several countries, safety for the diving is key, and they have even made these voluntary standards to be compulsory. Then we have working group 3, because working group 2 was about health tourism services, and they have already published standards about wellness spa, about medical tourism, about thalassotherapy spas, about wellness in general. So they are not active anymore. And working group 3, they are developing standards for tourist information services. Recently, we have updated the standard for tourism information offices. Remember that this is the first, or the first door that a tourist usually open to best know about the country. So it's important to have a very good first impression on the tourist. And also tourist information services has been updated to include now the online part, which is now very important for the digital tourist. Then we have working group 7. We had in the past working group 4 about golf services, working group 5 about beaches, where we have produced also a standard for beach operation. And we had in the past also working group 6 on environmental, natural, I would say, natural parks, to how to manage tourism while preserving nature in natural protected areas. And now we have working group 7 on adventure tourism. It was mentioned also, for example, for Mauritius, that they are starting to grow importance, because the tourist now is not a tourist of let's say staying and having some base, but is a tourist that wants to do things in the destination, wants to experience new things in the destinations, wants to learn about the destination. And adventure tourism is a way of practicing, in this case, activities or even sports in a different environment, but of course it needs to be safe. And this is one of the standards they have produced in adventure tourism, together with others about sustainability, because there are usually activities that are developed in protected areas or in natural areas. So they have developed several standards on this. Then we move to working group 13 on sustainable tourism. This is the one that is one of the more important now, because they are developing several, they develop a standard about the principles of sustainable tourism, and now they are developing different standards to, let's say, using these principles and landing them into real action by the companies and by the destinations. And I say that this is one of course, all are important, but sustainable is one of the key areas. And as you can see, we have developed vertical standards for different accommodation, restaurants, diving, tourist information services, beaches, but sustainable is transversal to all of them. So that's why it's important, because it affects all the working groups, in fact. Then we move to working group 14, was the accessible tourism. that was published some years ago. Then to working group 15 for accommodation. We are developing now a standard for camping. We have already developed standards for hotels, and we are probably going to develop a new standard for short-term rentals as well. Working group 16 focus on restaurants. So each of the working groups is led by different countries. For example, working group 1 is Austria, working group 3 is China, working group 7 is Brazil. So as you can see, not just because in this case UNE or Spain is coordinating this committee, that we are very open to the leadership of other countries to propose new ideas, new standards, and lead the development of international standards. Then we have working group 19 on online travel agencies, led by Jack Yao, who is present in this webinar. And we have working group 20, who was previously exhibition and events, and now with the creation of an ARSO new technical committee for events separately. So we are changing a little bit the scope of working group 20 into business tourism. And we have also working group 21 on semantics applied to tourism, and semantics, this working group together with working group 22 on smart tourism destinations. Those two are led by Spain and are the newest one. We are developing now based on our Spanish experience, the same way you can do with your national experience and then promote new standards in the ARSO TC 76. But this is the same evolution. We had a national standard that we promoted to be an international standard in working group 22 for smart tourism destinations. But we need you, we need experts. We need experts in the working group, and we need to hear all the voices. Africa is one of the continents that participates the least, and for us it's crucial that we hear your needs, and that the standards that we produce in ISO TC 228 can be implemented in your countries. And for that, you need to participate. So you can put the requirements or say, hey, oh, this is too high or this is too low. So we need to know what are your challenges, what are your needs, what are your the problems you are facing, and how can we help you through standards, but that standards that can be applied in all the countries, not just at European level, not just in Latin American area, but also in Africa. And for this, you just have to contact your national standards body. You know that in ISO also there are sponsorship programs that allow up to 5 sponsorship for different to attend different technical committees. You can participate either as an expert in a working group or at the plenary level, representing the national position at the technical committee plenary. And we need experts at any time, not just because we are in the middle.
Oh. Hello, Natalie, are you there? Okay.
African countries participate more actively. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we lost you at a point, but
sorry, maybe. Okay, sorry about the connection. I told you today it is snowing in Madrid, and maybe the connections are a little bit got lost. And the final slide is about seeing you in China. We all ISO TC 228 meets once per year. Of course, there are working group meetings as well, but we have a kind of a big week once per year where we meet all the working groups and the plenary. and we invite you to join us from 11 to 16 May 2026 in Hangzhou in China to exchange, to learn from each other, to do networking, because sometimes great ideas start with a conversation, and to contribute to the standards so they can be applicable everywhere. So thank you very much for your attention, and I'm happy to answer any question you might have.
Thank you. Wow. Natalia, now I told you we saved you for the last because we know that most of the knowledge you're going to share today is, if you go to the comment section, if you see the questions there, they are quite relevant to your explanations, or your explanation addressed most of them. You know, there are questions that we have. Where are you? Yes. Maybe before we take more from the chat box, you can quickly help us with this. Thank you for your presentation. It was excellent. It was fantastic. We thank you. It was a good knowledge shared. A lot have been gained from the panelists today, starting from Mr. Peter, to Sally, to Karen, and now yourself. So we are grateful. Thank you. And for the time, I know you took a little of our time, but it's okay. We know you had a lot to unburden. Okay, so now the first question is on the current status of tourism globally, and what are the key regulatory bottleneck challenges in the tourism sector? That is one question. Then the second question is, how is ISO TC 228 facilitating common regulatory frameworks and standards to address the bottlenecks, and with what benefits for developing countries like in Africa as per the implementation of the SDG 2030? Did you get the question, Natalia?
Yeah.
Because by the time you answer this question, it's going to also lead us to some of the questions I'm seeing on the chat box.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, the two main challenges in the tourism sector is digitalization and sustainability. These are the two main challenges the industry is facing right now. Digitalization, in the presentation before, we talk about virtual reality or augmented reality, for example, and now we have artificial intelligence everywhere. Why not in tourism as well? I mean, we have to make the most of the technologies we have to provide the best service. And for digitalization also, we need data. I mean, we need to make, as companies, as national tourism authorities, we need data where to base our decisions. And this is key for the future. I mean, we cannot just infer that because of this and that, the trend can be in the future that. If we have data, it will be much more easy to make good decisions in the future. So for this, we need the tourism sector to provide data, not just about arrivals or receipts, but also about what they do in the destinations. For example, if we have a beach that is crowded in some areas and not in other areas, if we have the data, we can maybe move these people to a different area of the beach, or we can put kind of red lights to say, okay, now the beach is very busy, or now you have this other entrance, or now there's a problem with the quality of the water or with the cleaning of the beach. But this needs to be done through data. So we need to gather this input. We need to see, for example, where the tourist is moving and where are the busiest areas of the city, for example, to try to provide them with recommendations to avoid these crowded areas and benefit the rest of the city as well, and not having so much overcrowded in one place. So also, for example, if we know what they do usually, they visit museums, or they go shopping, or we can also through this data, if we gather this data, we can propose the tourist new recommendations about things to do and see in the place in real time. So for that, we need digitalization of the tourism sector and data. And the other challenge, from my point of view, is sustainability. I've already mentioned that before because it's crucial, not just in Africa, but worldwide. We need to preserve, we need also that the benefits of tourism revert in the local community. Hermogen mentioned this at the very beginning. The local communities needs to have this benefit. We need to take them into account, involve them in tourism. So I think it's very important for that, for the sustainability challenge to be well overcome, let's say. We need this public-private coordination and collaboration. We need the national authorities from one side, we need the private sector on one side, and of course the national standards body can, help and create these synergies to provide standards at national level, at regional level, or at international level. But anyway, and also I also wanted to say in the second question that we don't have to be shy. Africa has a lot of experience in tourism as well. You mentioned Egypt, for example. We see, about 19 million tourists with this target of 30 million tourists for 2030. There's a lot of experience managing tourism, and also you can propose things at international level, not just do national standards, but also share this knowledge with others that will benefit from it, and align your best practice with international best practice or regional best practice to have this common language that were spoken before. I can't hear you.
You are muted.
Okay.
Chidima, you are muted.
Yes.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Natalia, for these explanations. Honestly, it has addressed some of the questions we are seeing in the chat box. Like this one from Hamu. Hamu was saying that there is no one standard that can fit all countries. Standards are made as a guidance to aid, but we can develop specific standards or guidelines for a specific country based on ARSO standards and adapted to our own country, so that that was her contribution. Which one now? Okay, said, how can harmonized tourism standards developed by ARSO and ISO help African countries to improve service quality, safety, and sustainability in their tourism sectors while preserving cultural uniqueness? It's just what you explained, yes, in sustainability, and even in traditional restaurants that was promoted by Iran. Yes, exactly. Traditional restaurants. So but you can answer it. Maybe you have a better way.
I have already answered somehow. It's difficult. Sometimes it's difficult to align, but I think we need more collaboration from the national perspective, from the regional perspective, and for the international perspective. Because right now, sometimes we are developing standards in parallel instead of merging ideas and benefiting one from the other. And it's true that sometimes you need, a country might need a specific standard because they have a specific circumstances and challenges, and they need something more tailor-made. And that's true, and that is perfectly valid. But sometimes it's a pity that we are put in a lot of efforts in different levels, while we could merge and provide synergies and I think we can work together more closely, for example, for ARSO TC 76 and ISO TC 228. I think this will benefit of having a great deal of standards and of also, let's say, adapting these standards to the reality of Africa. But I think Africa has a great potential, and it should stop being a standard taker from international side to start being a standard maker. So you need to participate more actively and fine-tune these standards to your needs.
Okay. Yeah, Natalia, thank you very much. We're still on the chat box now. From what the program we have here, say questions, chat box questions, that's where we are. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Dan. Where is it? Question. There was one significant one they were asking of our relish. Where is it? Where is it? Chip. Okay, in summary, they were asking of how the standards relate with ICAO. That's the International Aviation. I think it has to do with aviation, International Civil Aviation Organization.
Yeah.
Hello.
It's a liaison organization.
Yes.
Of ISO TC 228. So they are not very active because the projects we are developing are not very linked to transport yet, but they participate as a liaison. So they receive the information and can participate in the meetings and provide reports at every plane.
And even they were active at accessibility, the one proposed by UNWTO. Most of the aviation licenses were there, if I remember quite well. Natalia?
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Yes. Okay.
You're right.
Thank you.
They were very active in that project because this project also addresses the transport, and that's why they were more actively involved at that time. But of course, the composition of the TCs is open and in change, and sometimes we have a country more active because there is a topic that interests them most. Also, I just wanted to mention that if you participate, for example, in ISO TC 228, you don't have to contribute in each of the projects. I mean, maybe your interest is on sustainability, or it's on accommodation, or it's on business tourism, and you can participate only in the groups that are of your interest. There's no obligation of contributing to all of them.
Okay. Thank you very much, Natalia.
You are again muted. You are muted, Chidima.
Okay. I say thank you very much, Natalia. We've exceeded your time, although we are answering questions from the chat box. We may not be able to finish all the questions, but there was one that was asked for. That question was for Karen. Karen, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, it was on sustainability. Okay. It was actually on sustainability, but where is it? The question was, please, can you highlight few tourism standards that can promote and protect these cultures, heritage, and traditions without hampering those long values and beliefs? I know that it was, the question came up when you were presenting. Yes, sorry.
I don't know if there's a standard which focus only on cultural preservation. Most standards include environmental measures and cultural and economic measures. So there are many international standards which exist, actually, which the GSTC standards is one of them. But there is no standard which only focus, I haven't come across, in fact, any standards which only focus on the cultural aspect of tourism. I can't hear you, Chidima.
Okay, sorry. It's focusing on sustainability. That's actually what is preserving what the nature, the environment. That's the question. Why I think if we cannot answer all the questions because we are running out of time, there's no hand raised from what I'm seeing. I don't know if I'm the only one. I can't see any hand raised. And each panelist can take, maybe Karen, you can, do you have a few, you gave us a takeaway, but do you still have something to share? Just a minute.
Yes. Yes, I would say that, as Natalia said, collaboration is very important also in the path to adopt sustainable standards. For example, among Mauritius, the Mauritius Standard Bureau and the Tourism Authority is also planning to collaborate in the future to facilitate adoption of local standards by the small operators. So,
collaboration. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Peter, our first panelist, just a word.
Thank you very much. I think from the presentations we have had today, it's clear that quality has no state of origin. And the only way for us to be able to move from the menu to being on the table is through that collaboration and moving for adoption of standards throughout the continent for us to be able to implement them through the certification schemes that we are constantly developing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Peter. Conformity assessment in standards implementation. Thank you, Mr. Peter. Sally, are you here with us? Sally Ahmed? Sally, can we get a word from you? Hello, Sally. I can't hear Sally's voice. Sally, if you're not, okay, Sally is here. I can see Sally. Sally, can you just give us a word, a takeaway, just a minute? Hello? Sally, can you hear me? She's talking. Please unmute Sally. Unmute Sally.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, we are hearing you now. Yes.
Yes, I'd like to thank you for this meeting, and I want to tell you that really standardization is very important to work, and we hope that it works more on the topic of digitalization and the new trends of tourism nowadays, the use of technology and its application, and we have, of course, to adapt this to our African countries. Of course, it should have, we can make a little bit changes from the international one in order to suit us more.
Yeah.
But of course, it's going to be very beneficial to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. That is improving our approach to delivering on our tourism packages or products by bringing in innovations, technological innovations. Thank you, Sally. Yeah.
Thank you.
So with that, I think I as a moderator, I am leaving the stage, but before then, I want to acknowledge also the presence of the President of the Federation of Tourism Associations of Nigeria, in the person of Dr. Badaki Aliyu, who has been with us from the beginning of this webinar session. So I take my bow as a moderator and I hand over to the ARSO Secretariat for further information. Thank you. Mr. Philip, are you here? Hello, Mr. Philip. Or Mr. Peter?
Yes,
Okay, we are.
allow me to engage with Mr. Philip in a minute, and then he can provide further guidance.
Okay. Yeah. It will share the screen. So it's this one. How do I move it? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes, I can. Please type yes if you can.
Sorry for the technology. General Dr. Hemogen Sengemana, we really want to thank you very, very much to our panelists. Really done a wonderful job. The most important thing is the power of tourism as a sector in contributing to the economies of the world. And especially as you can see in this World Travel and Tourism Council, we are looking at a situation where it can contribute to 168 billion over the next 10 years. This one was a data which was presented in 2028. So the role of standardization in this case cannot be taken for granted. And you have seen how panelists have really brought it out that without standardization, at the end of the day, the confidence, the quality, and the safety of tourists will not be achieved. And then the predictability in the sector from different regions will also be not possible. So the role of standardization remains a key factor as quality and safety plays a greater role. With those comments now, before I leave to our co-host, the ARSO Central Secretariat is inviting you to our next session. Our next session will be hosted by our member, Egypt, through the EOS, and you can see the Egyptian chair. And we are glad that Africa is playing a key role in the international standardization. The chairman of EOS right now, Dr. Khaled, is also the current ISO president. So I know when Natalia has presented and we have seen and also remarked that the performance of African experts is small, then I think EOS has taken note, ARSO has taken note, and we are working on that. Our next theme will be smart standardization, the digitization of standardization processes. And you can see we have really organized speakers. We have really, but we are consulting with our members and stakeholders. By the time we reach there in February, and through the EOS, we shall have very effective topics and very effective sessions. And also, again, we normally have sessions during our week for the year. Our 2026 week is being scheduled to be held in Kampala, Uganda. And the way I'm seeing tourism, I think it could be one of our sessions. The way I've seen our moderator really done a good job on this. We might want her to moderate again during that session. So to our stakeholders, we welcome you again to the ARSO Standardization Week 2026, our 32nd General Assembly meetings that will be hosted by the government of the Kingdom, the government of the Republic of Uganda through the UNBS. Feel welcome. And as you can see, we have a full package of the webinar sessions from January to December or in November. And we are working with our stakeholders. We are working with our member states in co-hosting. And at the same time, we are working with different private sectors. Today, the ARSO TC76 has really done a wonderful job. And at that particular point, I will give the opportunity to our co-host, Dr. Dede Biji, to just say a final remarks. When after that we can have a group photo and call it a day. I should not end without thanking the African Association of African University for normally live streaming our webinar sessions. We try as much as possible to reach the next professional standardizers, that is the university students in Africa. Thank you, and I welcome our co-chair, Dr. Abioye, to make final remarks, some 2 minutes, and then we close. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you all. It has been a great day, a great webinar section. And at this point, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the Secretary General, African Organization for Standardization, ARSO, Dr. Hemojin Nsegimana, for this approval to organize the 60-second ARSO webinar section and for the success of the webinar. Thank you, Mr. Philip Okongu, the Documentation and Information Manager of ARSO. I sincerely want to appreciate our distinguished panelists who have done justice to all the various sub-teams. Mr. Peter Wayaki, I say thank you. Mrs. Karin Tukanon, thank you. Saleh Ahmad, Talia Ortiz de Sarate from Spain, thank you. Thank you for the experiences you have all shared with the participants. Also, I say thank you to all the 18 members nation of ARSO TC76 on tourism and related services for your support, tenacity, and active involvement in all the tourism harmonization activities. I appreciate all the national standard boards and the National Tourism Authority for your support. To all the tourism industry experts and distinguished participants, I say thank you for your time, attention, and active participation at this 62nd ARSO webinar section jointly co-organized by ARSO headquarters and ARSO TC76. It is expected that the outcome of this webinar will enhance better understanding of the tourism sector in Africa and the related opportunities. It will also enhance understanding of the benefits of tourism in sustainable development, better understanding of the needs and benefits of standardization for the tourism sector and for the facilitation of trade in tourism by removing technical barriers. It will enhance better understanding of the standardization initiative, both at the international, continental, and national levels, and the need for involvement of all the stakeholders. And again, it will better understand, it will facilitate better understanding on best conformity assessment procedure employed by countries that have successfully implemented tourism standard. And lastly, it will increase the initiative by governments, stakeholders, and policymakers and the private sector to work together and consult to ensure transition and adoption of sustainable tourism policies and regulations. And at this point, I would like to call this webinar section to a close, and thank you all, and I look forward to your future interactions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you so much. Thank you all participants, all the delegates, all the stakeholders. We really appreciate your participation all this time. We can just have a memory lane through our cameras so that we celebrate this, the success of this second 60-second session of the ARSO webinar sessions. Our ITC department will take us. I see so many of our stakeholders here. I see all of us. We really thank you. We really appreciate your contributions, your participation always. And one thing also we have is our YouTube channel for all the webinar sessions that we have, that we shared and we continue sharing, so that participants can always follow at their own pace. Then secondly, we have taken note of all your questions and we will share them also with panelists so that at the end of the day, we have a great report for it. Thank you so much. Thank you. I saw the African Union participating. That one is our apex body, and we really appreciate the support of the African Union for the ARSO activities and work. Thank you so much, all stakeholders, panelists, delegates, everybody else, and we wish to see you in our 63rd ARSO webinar session held together with the chair or EOS and the ISO president. Thank you. When our ITC is ready, they are going to tell us. We share our last moments with some smile and then they finish. As we say bye, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you on behalf of our Secretary General, Dr. Hermogen Sengemana. Thank you. Thank you, moderator. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, co-chair. Thank you, chair. The ARSO TC76, I think, is now well known. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye.